Weaponizing the cap space, the act of taking on a bad contract from a team that is desperate at clearing out some cap space, and in return for taking on this contract, you receive an asset for the future, whether it be a young up-and-coming player or a draft pick. The Vegas Golden Knights are a master of this technique, as this year in that three-way trade between the Pittsburgh Penguins, Ottawa Senators, and Vegas Golden Knights that sent Derek Brassard from the Ottawa Senators to the Pittsburgh Penguins, Vegas actually took on Derek Brassard first and retained $2 million of his salary before sending him to Pittsburgh, and in return they got a 4th round pick and Ryan Reeves. They basically bought a 4th round pick and Ryan Reeves for $4 million over 2 years. So with free agency on the horizon, teams are looking to clear up cap space in order to sign those big name players on July 1st. Here are 4 teams that have either been reported to be looking to move big contracts or who just need to move a big contract or two in order to sign the player that they've had reported talks with. Jim Benning and company, if you're watching this, I hope you consider some of these moves. We'll start off with the Chicago Blackhawks and Marian Hossa's 3-year, $5.275 million deal that is reportedly a priority to move this summer. And yes, while he can go in the long-term injured reserve, he can't officially be placed on there until the start of the season, and so his cap hit will remain over the summer. This doesn't make it any easier for the Hawks to negotiate contracts over the summer with their $9.225 million cap space. It is interesting to note that whatever team foots the bill, they only have to pay Hossa $1 million per year, even though his cap hit is at $5.275. This is absolutely a palatable contract for a rebuilding team that isn't looking to be strong for the next 3 years. And hey, if you can only get a 3rd or 4th round pick, I think you could get more than that, but let's say you could only get something like that, that's still valuable. You saw in this year's draft, Jake Wise went in the 3rd round. There were a lot of players to be had in those middle rounds. Every pick matters. Up next, let's take a look at the Winnipeg Jets, who have a very big offseason ahead of them as they have to sign their future star goaltender Connor Hellebuck and 2 very young, good defensemen in Jacob Trouba and Josh Morrissey. With $24 million of cap space to work with, it's pretty reasonable to expect those 3 players eating up close to 3/4 of that number. They also have Paul Stastny to think about, a guy they acquired at this year's trade deadline. If they do want to take a run at bringing back Paul Stastny, who had a pretty good showing in the playoffs, they're going to need to shed some cap, and one way to do that would be trading away Steve Mason. Mason only has a year left on his deal at $4.1 million, and I still think he provides some serviceable goaltending, so I don't really see the Jets giving up too much, but hey, that's still something. The Minnesota Wild are looking to ship out Tyler Ennis, who's making $4.6 million for 1 more year. Currently, the Wild just have over $11 million of cap space, and they need to re-sign RFAs Jason Zucker and Matt Dumba, who just had monster years. One of the players that the Wild are reportedly willing to give up in order to make this Ennis trade go through is Charlie Coyle, a big 26-year-old center who's only signed for 2 more years at $3.2 million. In 2016-17, Coyle posted 56 points, and the year before that, he had a 21-goal campaign. This is exactly the type of center I would love Elias Pettersson to play with in his first season. Lastly, we'll talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning and Stevie Y, who's basically saying, let's frickin' send it. Realistically, the Lightning don't need to clear up any cap space as their contracts are all looking pretty good and they have enough players on the roster to get them to next season. Right now, according to Cap Friendly, they have a projected $5.3 million in cap space, but if the rumors are true and they are looking into bringing John Tavares next year, which is ridiculous. That is a full send. Like, that's just crazy town. Tampa Bay can just apparently do whatever they want. But if they do, and if they are planning on trying to bring in John Tavares, they're going to have to free up some more cap space. Tavares is not signing for $5.3 million. The 2 potential contracts that I could see the Lightning trying to move are first Braden Coburn and secondly Ryan Callahan. Braden Coburn has 1 year left at $3.7 million and a modified no-trade clause where he can send in a 16-team no-trade list. Ryan Callahan's contract is a bit more steep at 2 years and $5.8 million, and he also has the same modified no-trade clause of a 16-team no-trade list. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Lightning might have to trade both of those contracts if they want to fit in Tavares under the cap, and if they do, good luck, Atlantic Division. good luck, LeBron James. That's the new powerhouse. That is the new Golden State Warriors. For rebuilding teams, there are plenty of opportunities for them to add future assets if they just not even think outside the box, just be a little bit resourceful and try to take on some rougher contracts and get some future assets back. All of these players I've listed, other than Marian Hossa, can still play and can still add some veteran leadership value if that's your thing as well. If it were me, I'd much rather have a Braden Coburn, Ryan Callahan, or Tyler Ennis, as well as bringing in some assets for the future instead of signing Jay Beagle in free agency. And of course it's easier said than done, but as a GM, it's your job to uncover every stone and go down every path. While I don't think the Brian Bickle, Pavel Datsyuk, and Dave Bolin trades will ever happen again, really, the kinds of prospects and picks that those teams gave up, there's still picks and players to be had from these teams. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know by leaving a like, as it really helps me out knowing if I'm doing stuff right or wrong on this channel. Please consider hitting subscribe and following all of us on this Canucks journey that we're all going on, mixed in with some prospect and other NHL news and videos and stuff like that. And with that, I will see you guys next time.